Okay, guys, I've been playing cat and mouse with some deer. It's 150 yards across that CRP to the tree line. And the first deer I saw over there was a really giant 8-point, really big 8-point. And he was standing there, and he immediately left the field. And all I could see was his head and his rack down in the woods. And so I couldn't get a shot, and I couldn't get the camera on him. And so 30 minutes has gone by, at least, maybe an hour, I don't know. It's hard to tell when you get excited. But anyways, I kept seeing deer pop out over there, and I couldn't see what they were because their heads were down in that grass. Well, finally, I put the camera over there, and I had my GoPro on. The problem is, I couldn't get steady, so I had to use my easy hanger that's holding my camera as a rest. And so it messed the video footage up, so I apologize, but there was no way I can get a shot. So I just threw up, and he was moving, and he was about to go back down in those woods again. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a different buck than the one I saw this morning. The one I saw this morning looked substantially bigger than this one. But this one's still pretty good deer, and I know I hit him. I don't know how good I hit him because he was walking. Wow. I mean, guys, the amount of blood that this guy is dumping is crazy. This has to be a heart shot. There's no way. Oh, that's a rub. I was like, he broke that branch. I mean, there's literally blood on everything. Look at all this blood. I can see, dude, I can see blood all the way down there, like 20 yards away. Look at the blood, would you? There he is right there. There he is. Awesome. This is not the first deer I saw this morning, but this deer will definitely do. Look at that. Dude, that was a perfect heart shot. Sorry, it's a bit bloody for YouTube, but that's a perfect freaking heart shot. Look at how big that deer is. This is not the first buck I saw this morning. I saw another buck before this one. It looked a lot bigger than this one. This could technically be the same one, but I'm not sure. But this one's technically a 1, 2, 3. It's just a 6-point. He's missing an eye guard here, and his G3's broken off. But that's the biggest 6-point that I've ever killed. And I mean, I smoked a heart shot on him. And believe it or not, this guy was chasing a doe, and the doe is blowing at me right over there. There is a doe in the bushes right there blowing at me 50 yards. And this buck was trying to get her. So anyways, I got a lot of work ahead of me. I got to go back and get my pack. I'm gonna have to pack him out of here. I'm a long way back in here. But that's incredible hunt. That G2 is 10 inches. Not much for eye guards on this guy. But that's a stud. Cool. All right, guys, I'm back. I got my pack. I got my Alaskan game bags, my meat bags. This video is kind of shoddy at best at recording this kill shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some behind the scenes kind of stuff that I don't normally put on here. And to do that, I'm probably going to have to demonetize this video because I don't know how YouTube's going to feel about it. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to treat this deer out here in the field. I've got a 2-mile walk back to the truck. So just keep that in mind. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So first things first is look at that kill shot. That is a massacre of a deer heart shot wound. It bled everywhere, so I probably don't have to bleed my meat very much. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to quarter him out up here, and I'm going to debone him and everything right there. So let me just show you all the steps I'm going to take to get that done. I don't have a tripod with me, so I'm going to have to turn you on intermittently to show you. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've set up a black plastic trash bag on the ground because there's no trees. These are little bushes. There's no trees around for me to hang the meat on, and I don't want to set it in the dirt. So I'm going to cut the meat off and put it right there. What I'm going to start out doing is I'm going to cut around his neck so that I can take his head with me, and then I'm going to cut him straight down the center using my zipper. I'll show you how I do that in a minute. And I'm just going to skin this side, cut the legs off, cut the back strap out, flip him over and do the same. All right, so I've got him cut around the neck. I call this my zipper. I don't know what the actual technical term is. All right, so I've got him skint down, and I've got his joints, his legs cut at the knee joint. And so I'm just going to take the limbs off and then cut the back strap out and lay it on the plastic. It's just that easy. All right, so that's the finished first side. Front shoulder gone, hind quarter gone, back strap gone. They're all over there. Now I'm just going to roll the deer over this way, do it again. All right, I've got this side skint. Fixing to take both these quarters and the back strap off this side, and I'll be about wrapped up for this part of it. I've got all the meat cut off the deer and onto the bag. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up some of these game bags and drop the meat in, but I'm going to cut the long bones out just because that's a lot of extra weight. But I'm going to load them in the game bags and then load them in the pack. So the deer's cut up. It is in the bag. I'm going to leave that right out here, and it's in the CRP field that I'm hunting, and I could drag it off into those woods over there. However, that's what a lot of people would do. I'm going to leave it right here because the buzzards and the coyotes will find it much faster being out here in the open, and this carcass will be gone in 2 days completely. There will be nothing but bones here in 2 days because the buzzards, the vultures will be down here devouring this thing. Before the end of today, there will be buzzards on this thing because it's in such an open area. So this deer will not be here in 2 days, I promise. Also, one little extra tip. Always bring extra bottles of water. One, you're gonna want one to drink, and you're gonna want another one to wash your hands with so that you're not putting blood everywhere when you're done, right? Keep it clean. Yep. All right, guys. Got the deer home. I got some ice. Time to put it in an ice bath. I got the cooler. It's tilted. I got the plug pulled. Let's load it up. All right, so the one good thing about deboning your deer in the woods and carrying it out the way I did is I can throw it straight into an ice bath right when I get home. So I threw one big bag of ice right there. I'm gonna put another half a bag in there, and then I'm gonna put the meat, and then I'm gonna put another bag and a half. And these are the big 16-pound bags. All right, so I've got all my meat resting on ice. My cypress trees are raining down leaves right now. All right, deer's completely covered. All right, that whole deer is covered in ice. I'm just going to leave it in this cooler. I got the drain plug popped open so that the bloody water can drain out. And I'm gonna leave this here for about a week. I'll probably get to it this next weekend when I have a couple of days before I have to go back to work where I got time to process it. Hopefully I'll add another one to this tomorrow or the next day. But the meat is done and ready to go. Now it's time to process the head. All right, well, that only took a few minutes with a fillet knife. I got all the hide off. I got most of the soft tissue off. I took the mandible off, the bottom jaw, took it off, and I've got it ready to boil. Now I'm probably gonna boil it for about an hour, and then I'm gonna pressure wash it, and then if I need to boil it again, I can boil it again, and then pressure wash it again, and I'll have a nice Euro mount. All right, y'all, it is now 5 days later. It is Sunday. I shot this deer on Tuesday. If my math is correct, that's been 5 days. I could have waited longer, but today is the day that I had to do this. So what I've done thus far is I went and bought some of these little pans. It's just easier to use these. You're gonna need a lot of them. So I say a lot of them. I've got 3, and I've cut all of the meat that I'm gonna turn into ground into these pans, which is pretty much the whole deer minus the back straps. The back straps I've already packaged and frozen aside from this little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and start a marinade on these so that we can cook these today, and they can marinate while I'm processing this stuff. To marinate my back strap, all I'm going to do is I got some Lea Perrins, Worcestershire, however you say that, and this is just some wishbone Italian dressing. And I'm going to put this in the bag and throw it in the fridge, and that's it. So I'm going to put a lot of that in there, and then of course the Worcestershire as well. And so I'm just going to have this soak while I'm processing the deer. So I'll be ready to cook and eat when I'm done. So that's all I do. Italian dressing, Worcestershire, put it in a Ziploc, mix it around, throw it in the fridge. Okay, in order to process my deer, I bought a new meat grinder. I'm fixing to unbox it and show it to you. I have one that I've had for 20 years. It's kind of old, kind of sucks, so I went and bought a new one. But I've got the meat already cut up, ready to go through the meat grinder. The only other thing that I've got is I went to the meat market and I bought a big bag of beef fat. They sell this right at the meat market. I went to Southern Meat Market right up the street and got 10 pounds of beef fat. This is probably way too much beef fat for this much deer, but I didn't want to be short. So I'm going to weigh it out on a meat scale to make sure I get my ratio right. But I'm going to need to cut this up the same way I cut this up, and I'll put it in this pan. All right, so this is a brand new meat grinder. I'll put whatever the brand is up on the screen so you can see it. It actually should say it right here on the box. It's an STX Turbo Force. They have all the little buzzwords on here. Turbo Force 3000 series electric meat grinder. It's supposed to be really fast. We'll see. It has a lot of attachments in here I'm not going to use, so I'm probably not going to go through all of them with you, but I'll show you what it's got. Alright, it's got your plunger. This is just to push the meat down in it. That's to lock your pan on. That's a sausage tube. It's got the, whatever if you're doing ground or if you're doing cubes, it's got the different blades in here, or the different, I'm not sure what you call those things. Yeah, it doesn't say. But it's got these, it comes with an extra blade, so you got 2 blades. It does come with multiple cutting discs. I don't know what you call these things. This one will cut your cubes. This one is for your ground. I'm not really sure what that one's for. This one's probably the only one I'll use. Directions. Oh, we don't use those. Right? picture online showed this thing to be all stainless. It is not. Just fine. White will do. It's already got a pre-assembly with the smaller grinding plate already in it. Here's your catch pan, right? And you got some meat hooks. I'll probably never use these things. You know, you want to look like Wolverine. I guess it's meant to grab your meat. I don't know how to use these. Kind of not my jam. Alright, so assembly on these things is usually really easy. I've had a few of these. So you just put this in here. This little locking bolt goes in the side. And then the pan goes in the top. On the face, all it is this and a blade. And your little rotary wheel. Whatever you call this. Anyways, I'm not going to use it yet. I'm going to take all this off and wash it first because this is straight from the factory. There's no telling what they've got on it. So I'm going to wash it up really quick and then get the meat out and run it through and let's see how it does. Alright guys, I ran into my first roadblock. So all these little cutting discs are made for something different. This one's a cuber. It's got a big hole right in the center if you could see it. As does this one. As does this one. This one's obviously got a hole in the center, but it's not as big as this one, and it will not go on here. The hole's not big enough. I have no idea why, unless they just messed this up in manufacturing. That is the craziest thing. I think they literally messed this up in manufacturing. I don't know what else it could possibly be because there's no way this is going on there. I bet this is for a different model and they mistakenly put it in this box. I guess we're going to go straight to the fine cut. I would have preferred to run this one because it's usually faster on the first grind because I grind my deer meat twice. But I can't use that one. That's so weird. So I guess I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to hope that it's powerful enough to not matter. Alright, so got that in. I'm going to lock this in. I'm going to put my plate up. Let me grab some meat and we're going to get to rolling. Alright, so I've got one pan of meat and then I've got one empty pan to catch it as it comes out. And yeah, so I guess it's time to roll. The only thing is they put the buttons on this side and I've run it this way. I'd rather turn it around, but my outlet is over there. So I'm going to have to run this backwards. It's got two settings for running it through and it's got a reverse button. So I've got one, two. So two seems slower, deer down. One is really fast. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but it's pretty loud if you couldn't tell. But it's got two speeds and a reverse. So if it bogs down, I can hit a reverse. But I'm going to turn it on fast and see what it does. Wow. Guys, I can't believe that I've been using my old meat grinder as long as I have. This was on Amazon for, I believe it was $160 plus tax and shipping or whatever. And I just blew through an entire pan of deer meat. And it had to be like, I don't know, it was less than 10 minutes. I don't know, 7 minutes, maybe, max. Like, that was ridiculously fast. I've got one more pan to do. I'm fixing to get it out and just roll through it. That's it. Whole deer ground in less than 20 minutes. That's insane. I wish I had timed myself because that was ridiculously fast. All right, now I got to grind the beef fat. All right, I want to see how this beef fat goes. It's not cut up yet. I just cut a few pieces up real quick just so I can see how well it goes through the machine. Because this is a much different consistency than the actual deer meat. Uh-oh. So it did not like the fast speed. All right, I'm gonna do the slow geared down mode. It does not like the beef fat. So, first obstacle with the new meat grinder is when you're first putting beef fat through there, don't use the fine holes. I don't know if that can even pick up. I would use the bigger one, but it doesn't have the hole big enough to use. So I'm gonna go with this plate, and I'm assuming it'll blow through that. Okay, so as it turned out, I had way too much beef fat, and so I ground up what I wanted to mix in here. I like to mix my deer 70-30. That's about what I got. I'm not going to weigh it. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's a little less than a third, and this actually weighs a lot less than this, so if I did it by weight, I'd probably need a lot more fat. It's going to be close enough. It's going to be somewhere between 20% and 30% fat mixed in my deer. Now, as far as this meat grinder goes, this thing struggled when it came to running this fat through it. Like, it really struggled. I had to reverse it a bunch of times. It took way longer to do this one pan of fat than it did to do both pans of the deer meat. So take that for what it is. Go with the biggest hold plate on the front as you can when you're running fat through it. That'd be my recommendation. So, but it still chewed it up just fine. I'm fixing to blend this all together, and then I'm going to run it back through here, and I'm going to take out about, I don't know, maybe 10 pounds, 5-10 pounds, and make some breakfast sausage. I've got some of this. It's his Legs custom blended seasoning. Let you see that up close. This is what I got. It's the hot pork sausage seasoning. I'm going to try this for breakfast sausage. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I tried their maple one. It was not good mixing it to the ratio that they said. I mixed the maple one to 25 pounds, which is what the packet said to mix 25 pounds. And I did 70-30 on the fat, and I used pork fat instead of beef fat. I didn't like it. It just was really bland is all. It's not like it was horrible. It was just very bland. And I think what I should have done was I should have mixed it in, like, 18 or 20 pounds of meat instead of 25, and it probably would have been a lot better. So that's what I'm going to do with this. This one probably says the same thing, 25 pounds of meat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out half of this bag, and I'm going to put it with 10 pounds of meat, and I'm going to make 10 pounds of breakfast sausage and try it and see if it's any good. Okay, so I've measured out 10 pounds of the beef fat and deer meat right here, the high fat content. I've got, this is a meat scale. This is literally, if you can read that, an Amazon Basics, cheap. I put a paper plate on it. I'm fixing to measure. This is a 9-ounce bag. So obviously I want 4.5 ounces out of here to mix in there. And so I'm just gonna look at the ounces on the side. Boom, look at that. That's exactly half of this bag. And this is, ooh man, I'm telling you, that stuff is hot, man. It's like burning my nose up here. So it says mixed with 25 pounds. I'm going to do half of it with 10 pounds. So I'm shorting 2.5 pounds of meat, trying to make it a little bit stouter. I'll let you know how it turns out. Okay, so I've got the meat kneaded with all the spices in there. It's ready to go. And I need to choose a blade. I'm going to try to run this fine blade through there first, or this fine plate through there first, and see if this will work. If it doesn't, I'm going to switch back to this one. We'll see. Ta-da! The breakfast sausage is done. Probably should have done the regular plain first. Now I filled it up full of seasoning, but I may take it off and clean it before I run the rest of it through. But I say that did pretty good. Here's my hot breakfast sausage ready to go. All I gotta do is wrap it. I wrap mine in freezer paper. I don't do vacuum seal just because I don't have a vacuum seal, and this works just as good. So that's what I'll be wrapping mine with. Now I'm going to go and do the rest of it, run the rest of it that's not seasoned through the grinder. Okay, so I wrap my deer meat in freezer paper primarily because I don't have a vacuum sealer. And to do this is real simple. You just cut you a square. You want to put a crease in it so it doesn't roll back up on itself, because this comes off a roll and it has a lot of memory. And then you want to put however much meat you want to pack in yours. I eyeball it. I'm a dude, get over it. I don't weigh this stuff out. I'm going to say that's probably just a little over a pound, give or take. And then you're going to want to wrap it in the corner, and you're going to squeeze the paper back on it, ultimately squeezing the air out of the back, and then fold your corners in like this, and then squeeze it and roll it forward. Throw a piece of tape on it, good to go. And then I'll just write, you know, ground deer in the blend that I've got on here. So this will be, you know, 80-20 blend is what I'll write on here. Alright, so all of my ground products are ready to go. This is my 80-20 blend. This is all roughly about 1 pound packs. I got my lean ground over here, and then I've got my hot sausage here. I've got one more pack of ground sausage, or hot sausage, in the fridge. I'm fixing to cook some of it up now to make sure it's good. I've already wrapped it, so it's not like I'm going to change it now. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to go heat up the grill so I can cook the back strap. Geese are going nuts. Look at that full moon coming up. I don't know if you guys can see it through the trees over there, but it's going to be a bright night, I think. All right, I'm going to get this grill fired up. All right, so for the cooking part of this video, I've got half a back strap right here cut into 4 pieces. I'm going to, I've freshly pulled them out of that marinade, and I'm going to toothpick some bacon around them, throw those on the grill. While I'm preparing that, I'm going to cook some of this breakfast sausage. I'm just trying to test this to see how good it is. If I like it, I save the rest of it in the fridge for breakfast. In the meantime, I'm going to wrap this in bacon and get it on the grill. Whew. Man, that grill is scalding. So now I'm going to turn this down a bit. I wanted it to scald it. I want to cook it hot and fast because I want the outside cooked and the inside kind of fairly rare. Sorry, it got a little dark on me out here. I'm going to flip these guys. I want it to really cook the hell out of that bacon. As you can see that it is. Whew. Gonna catch my fingers on fire. Boom. And it's did. Let's see how good we did. See, kind of rare in the middle. Mmm. That's amazing. Now, no, you don't eat breakfast sausage with a fork, but I was just trying to figure out how well this turned out. This is the spicy hot sausage we just made. Oh wow, that's actually a lot better than the maple. And it's got some heat on it too. Mmm. Wow. That's actually what you need to get, guys. If you're making the breakfast sausage, wow. I put half of this on 10 pounds of meat. And that is some of the best deer breakfast sausage I've ever had. My last batch I made with the same brand, but the maple. And I don't even like it. Like, I got to do something else with it when I thaw it out because I don't like it. But this is fantastic. I would definitely do this again. My next year, I'm 100% doing this. That's great. And on your deer meat like this, when you bacon wrap it, I always undercook my deer. If you ever overcook it, you'll never do it again because deer meat is just, it's too lean and it will just ruin it for you. And I do like the bacon fat because it makes it delicious. This is perfect. All right. I'm going to sit here and devour this entire plate. You guys have a good one.